Hi and welcome to the studio. We're all going Pavel and we're going to shortly begin with our live session before the final stage. You know what to do, grab some snacks, some drinks, let us know if the audio works okay, if the video works okay, and we're going to start shortly. Hi and welcome again to the ER Champ 2020 studio before the finals. You made it, so congratulations. You already know what the drill is, so tonight we're gonna shortly sum up what happened during the elimination stage. We're gonna set you the story for tonight's game, so you have a little bit of background. We're gonna talk about and remind you what the amazing prizes are here to win. And we're going to end with a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or stories that you would like to share with us, just keep them ready. All right, we've had quite a journey this year, so let's talk about what you've already been through. We've had not one, but 2 stress tests this year. Thank you again for playing. They helped us develop the technical side of the game, making the performance more smooth and hopefully more fluent for you. And let's talk about the elimination stage that you played 3 weeks ago.
So the game, as you know already, has you become employees of a clinic with innovative mental treatment. And during the stress test, you were tasked with making sure that all the equipment is ready to go, that everything is calibrated, that the clinic is ready to receive its first client of the day. It was a very short test, just letting us run through the technical side of things, but also an introduction to the overall story for you. During the eliminations 3 weeks ago, you started with helping John, whose life lost all of its color after a tragic accident has befallen his family. And you also helped Anna, whose family issues kept her spiraling into anger and out of control and out of balance. So you made it. The things that you did in their minds helped them achieve a little bit of peace, so bravo you. And afterwards, after trips into the minds of your clients, you had a very short break in the staff room where you found a note from your coworker, Adam, who shared with you that he suspects your boss, Mallory, of doing some nasty business on the side. And he thinks it might be fraud of some kind. But you are not exactly sure Mallory would be someone to, siphon funds off her own clinic. Hopefully there is more time to delve into that and figure out what's happening in the clinic tonight.
All right, and let's have a look at some statistics regarding the elimination stage. We've been delighted to see so many contestants from all over the world, and we've had 2,080 players playing in 656 teams, clicking over 6.5 million actions. That was a lot. Well done, you. But the most interesting number to me was 116 teams that will be competing in tonight's game. But why 116, you may ask? Well, while polishing one of the puzzles, the infamous family board puzzle, another solution became viable by mistake. We didn't catch it during testing, and it was only brought to our attention only after the elimination stage was over. So what we did was we checked the logs and we found 16 teams that came up with this alternative solution within the time frame that would allow them to make it to the top 100. So we decided to give those 16 teams a wild card to play in the finals tonight. And also, don't worry, because we fixed the mistake, and any teams that would like to play in the future outside of the championships won't have to struggle that much.
We obviously try and do our best to avoid situations like that, but you might imagine that preparing, developing, and then testing each and every puzzle takes a long time and goes a long way. We typically start with very basic puzzle idea, something that we just want to check with everyone on the team. If, hey, I have this idea, so what if we try to do something? So what if we try to make you think about this approach? What do you think? Can we make it into an actually viable and fun puzzle? Then we think how to design it and how to make it playable within the system that we have, within the game that we have. Then we need to focus on visualization and preparing a working example that we can actually then implement and test. So for each and every puzzle, we go through at least 5 of those basic steps. And it's not that we implement and then run with the first idea that we have. We typically run through several iterations of every puzzle and every idea. So there are several versions of every puzzle that we discarded. We thought, hey, this might be better. We can polish it. We can do something better about it. And then we need to implement and test in each and every puzzle in 2 languages. So you might imagine it's quite a lot and quite a long journey to ship even just one puzzle and make sure that it's playable. What happened with the family board is that it originally had considerably more clues in the family textbook. So there were at least 10, if I remember correctly, clues about your family members. And we decided that it's way too many because some of them were meant to just confuse you, introduce some information noise, make you waste some precious seconds on trying to analyze and understand the unnecessary clues. So they were cut. But during that process, 1 clue too many was cut, and we didn't catch it in the testing. So that's enough. And after the whole chapter is prepared and everything is ready to be tested, and we run through the whole chapter rather than individual puzzles, it typically turns out that we do need to make some steps simpler or easier or just shorter, because otherwise the whole stage would take 4 to 5 hours, and this is not something we would like you to go through, and we wouldn't want the game to take that long. So the family board was a victim of one of those simplifications for you. And the story of the game itself also goes through multiple iterations and multiple versions. We initially just brainstormed some ideas of what kind of setting, what kind of story we may go with for this year's game. And we had about 10 different ideas, completely and vastly different ideas going whatsoever different ways. We settled on going with the soul mending clinic, and I'm personally very happy that we chose it. I think it turned out really, really good. But the original script for the Soul Menders was completely different than what we went with for eliminations and for the finals. And at some point, as we were developing new puzzles and the puzzles influenced the story influenced the puzzles, at some point it really seemed like the characters that we started developing and writing guided us and started guiding us and pretty much making us how they want their story to be told to you. So we really deviated from the original script and the original idea, but I think it's developed pretty nicely over time, and I really hope you will have as much fun exploring and playing the game as I had designing and writing it.
But before we go any further, let's have a look at the pictures that you have in front of you. Because as you may imagine, some puzzles have the origins just being drawn on a simple piece of paper, either while traveling on a train or while waiting in a waiting room at the doctor's. Others are painstakingly mapped in Excel spreadsheets, and others, like the one you can see in the top right corner, are mapped using skewer sticks and sticky notes on our kitchen table.
Yeah, the top right puzzle you may recognize as the football game puzzle from chapter 3, from the very last step of elimination stage. It initially started in Excel with just some basic notes, and the idea started out in cells in Excel, but I quickly realized that I need a little bit more mobility and I need to test it and just check if the idea has any legs and if it's something that we can implement and we can run with. And so I came up with a system with multiple sticky notes on pieces of paper, and the skewer sticks were meant to designate the borders of the playing field, so that whatever is shown, whatever disappears, should be kept in there. In the top left of the screen, you can see the very basic, the very early version of the vending machine in general for chapter 3. You may notice that the stars are there, the stars from that ended up on a separate poster in the game itself. They originally were meant to be on the vending machine. And yeah, most of the ideas start with someone saying, so hear me out, here's an idea. What if we do this and this and that? And then we brainstorm if it's viable at all, if it's an idea worth pursuing and then implementing, or if it's something that we'd rather drop and go another way. We did cut a number of ideas because they were not viable for this kind of game. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see the very early design made in paint for the Zen Garden in chapter 2. And yeah, this is how it started, and then Bartosz kept drawing all the necessary bits and pieces and implementing them with Kuba to realize them in the game. All
right, and let's talk business, because today you're here to play, but you're also here to win. The winners of the ER Champ 2022 will take home Nintendo Switch Lite consoles, one for every team member, along with a $200 voucher to the Board and Dice online store. The second place will go home with a $100 voucher along with the Escape Tales board game set, and the third place will go home with a $50 voucher along with the Escape Tales board games set. And again, a big shout out and thank you to our main organizer and sponsor, LuckMe, and our another sponsor, Board and Dice, for making all these wonderful prizes available for you to win tonight.
I guess you're eager to play already. So before you begin, just remember, Adam, your co-worker, dropped a bomb on you saying that, hey, I have my suspicions about our boss and I think that she's up to no good and she's doing something on the side. You really wanted to investigate it. Adam suggested that you may find more in his own office, but there is no time for further investigation right now because the next client has just arrived and you need to go back to work.
All right, that's it from us. If you have any question or any stories that you'd like to share with us, this is the time to do so. Okay, we have a first question. Is it gonna be hard? Is the game gonna be hard?
If you know the answer, it's not gonna be hard. If you don't know the answer, it is. I mean, it's the finals of this year's competition, so you may expect a slight uptick in difficulty compared to the elimination stage, but I think that all the puzzles are fair and playable. I mean, that was what we were going for, to keep it fair, fun and solvable, and the difficulty is pretty subjective, I think.
Exactly. right, another question popping up.
Yeah, someone asks, when did you start working on the game this year?
I think the first draft and the setup of the team that started to design the puzzles and the setup of the game heads back to June, I believe. So something like that. So it takes
late June.
It took us about 4 or 5 months to think about the story. The puzzles came afterwards, as Pavel mentioned.
We started with a top-down design. We decided to first think up what kind of story we want to have and what is the general approach we want to take. So Soul Menders came first, and then we fit puzzles into the clinic and try to think what makes sense in a mental clinic that has some unorthodox ways, let's say, and that happened late June and July, and then we started working on puzzles, but the story and everything else was being iterated on as we went as well.
All right, I think our time is up. So again, good luck everyone, and we cannot wait to see who tonight's winner is gonna be.
Have fun.
Have fun. Good luck.